Imagine believing for years that your morning smoothie was the healthiest thing you did for your body. You bought the fruit, you blended the colors, you drank it proudly, thinking you were nurturing your liver, fueling your energy, and supporting your health. But what if I told you that the very habit you believed was protecting you has been quietly overwhelming your liver the entire time? The smoothies you trusted were actually feeding the same metabolic fire you've been trying to put out. What if the fatigue you feel, the inflammation you can't explain, the belly and the brain fog that follows you around are all connected to the healthy smoothie you drink every morning? I know that sounds like heresy in a world that worships juice bars and wellness trends. But I need you to understand one fact. Smoothies are gasoline for fatty liver disease, not because fruit is bad, not because nutrients are bad, but because blending fruit destroys the protective structure designed to keep your liver safe. That structure is fiber. And once you break that fiber apart with a blender, you convert a whole food into a sugar delivery system your liver cannot defend against. Let me explain what actually happens when you drink a smoothie. Fruit in its whole form, but that fructose is locked inside intact fiber. The fiber slows the absorption, controls the glucose rise, and protects your liver from overload. But when you blend the fruit, you break the fiber down into tiny particles. That fiber can no longer act as a biological shield. The fructose becomes free fructose, hitting your liver all at once. Just like soda, your liver, an organ that is already carrying far too much responsibility, gets flooded with a sugar load it cannot process safely. Your liver has only one option. When it receives too much free fructose, it turns it into fat. That fat gets stored inside its cells. Over time, those cells swell, inflammation rises, insulin sensitivity drops, and the energy that once felt stable begins to feel unstable. You wake up tired, you feel inflamed, you gain weight in the midsection, you crave sugar, you feel emotionally flat or unfocused. This is not aging. This is not genetics. This is fructose toxicity disguised as health. People often come to me confused. They say, "Doctor, I eat well, I drink smoothies, I avoid junk food. Why do I still feel inflamed all the time?" And when I ask them what exactly they put into their smoothies, I hear the same pattern over and over again. Bananas, berries, mango, pineapple fruit juice as a base, sometimes even honey, dates, or natural sweeteners. They are not drinking a smoothie. They are drinking a fructose bomb, and their liver pays the price every single day. Let me walk you inside your liver for a moment. Your liver is not just an organ. It is a biochemical factory that manages hundreds of tasks at once: detoxification, hormone regulation, blood sugar control, processing, energy conversion, immune response. When you overwhelm your liver with free fructose, it cannot keep up. It shunts the excess into fat. That fat triggers inflammation. That inflammation triggers insulin resistance. And insulin resistance triggers hunger, fatigue, and abdominal weight gain. And what do most people do in response to that fatigue? They drink another smoothie, believing they are giving themselves energy, but they are simply fueling the cycle again. Now, here is the truth most people never hear. Whole fruit does not do this. Whole fruit does not overwhelm your liver. Whole fruit does not spike free fructose into your bloodstream. The intact fiber in whole fruit slows everything down. It keeps the fructose trapped. It forces your gut to work for the sugar. And by the time the fructose reaches your liver, the dose is and safe. This is why I tell my patients that fruit is not the problem. But blended fruit is, you do not need to avoid fruit. You need to avoid smoothies. Let me show you the difference. When you bite into an apple, the fiber network stays intact. It forms a gel in your gut that slows absorption, feeds your microbiome, lowers inflammation, and protects your liver. When you blend that same apple, you break the fiber into pieces so small that it no longer slows absorption. The fructose rushes into your bloodstream and overwhelms your liver. The apple did not change. One man in his 60s came to me desperate. His doctor had told him he had fatty liver disease. He felt exhausted every day. He believed he was doing everything right. He was eating salads, exercising, avoiding desserts, and drinking a large smoothie every morning. When I told him the smoothie was the problem, he stared at me like I had spoken another language, but he agreed to stop. After 2 weeks of no smoothies and replacing them with whole fruit instead, his inflammation markers dropped. His liver enzymes began normalizing. His belly, his mood improved. He said he felt like someone had lifted a weight off his body. That weight was fructose. Let me explain why fructose is different from other sugars. Glucose can be used by every cell in your body. Fructose cannot. Only the liver can metabolize it. That means fructose hits your liver like a freight train. When you eat whole fruit, the fiber protects you. When you drink a smoothie, you remove the protection. And when you remove the protection, this is why the healthy smoothie trend has created an epidemic of fatty liver disease in people who genuinely believe they are taking care of themselves. They are not making mistakes. They are following misinformation. So let me give you the real solution. The fruit that cleans your liver is not blended. It is eaten whole, one piece per meal, chewed, not drunk, digested slowly, not absorbed instantly. This single change has reversed fatty liver disease in thousands of my patients. It lowers inflammation, it stabilizes blood sugar, it reduces cravings, it restores energy, and it supports your microbiome, which is the foundation of your immune system. Whole fruit is medicine. Smoothies are poison disguised as wellness. When you eat fruit the way nature intended, the fiber remains intact. The fructose is released slowly. Your liver receives it gently, not violently. Your microbiome ferments the fiber into anti-inflammatory compounds that repair your gut lining. Your blood sugar stays stable. Your cravings decrease. Your energy rises, and your liver finally gets the breathing room it has been missing. Once you switch from smoothies to whole fruit, something quiet but powerful begins to happen inside your body. The inflammation you thought was age begins to decrease. The fatigue you assumed was normal for someone your age begins to lift. The belly heaviness that felt permanent begins to soften. You might not notice it on day one, but your liver notices it immediately for the first time in years. It is no longer drowning in free fructose. Your liver is an incredibly resilient organ. It can take decades of abuse, yet repair itself the moment you stop attacking it. But it cannot repair itself if you continue flooding it with liquid fructose disguised as health. When you remove smoothies you remove the daily sugar or salt. When you replace them with whole fruit, you feed your liver polyphenols and fiber that reduce inflammation and support healing. Let me explain what happens during the first week after removing smoothies. Your liver enzymes begin to fall. These enzymes, ALT and AST, rise when your liver cells are inflamed or injured. When fructose overload stops, inflammation decreases and the enzymes begin to normalize. You might not feel this immediately, but if you've ever woken up with a swollen belly or that dull ache under your right rib cage, you know what liver inflammation feels like. Within days of stopping smoothies, that tightness begins to fade. Your gut also responds quickly. When you drink smoothies, you're not feeding your microbiome, you're bypassing it. Fiber is the microbiome's food, and blended fiber is not the same. The healthy bacteria in your gut thrive on intact fiber. When you eat whole fruit, the fiber reaches the large intestine intact, where bacteria ferment it into short-chain fatty acids. These acids strengthen the gut lining, reduce inflammation, and communicate directly with your brain to stabilize mood and hunger. Many of my patients tell me they feel calmer within the first week. They don't understand why. Gut inflammation drops, dopamine stops swinging wildly, blood sugar stabilizes, and the brain finally gets biochemical consistency instead of chaos. By the second week, your energy begins to change. Not the jittery energy caffeine produces, but the steady, natural energy that comes from balanced blood sugar and a calm liver. You stop needing naps. You stop crashing mid-afternoon. You stop waking up tired when your liver is overwhelmed with fructose. It steals energy from the rest of your body. When it is relieved of that load, it allows your mitochondria to function properly. Again, your metabolism becomes smoother, your brain becomes clearer, your muscles feel less tense, even your mood feels more grounded. This is the kind of energy your body was always meant to have but couldn't access while your liver was under constant attack. By the third week, the changes become visible on the outside. Your face looks less puffy. Your eyes look clearer. The redness or blotchiness that often accompanies chronic inflammation begins to fade. Your skin looks calmer. Your belly feels softer. Your digestion improves. People often describe this stage as feeling lighter, not just physically, but mentally. That lightness is real. It comes from inflammation decreasing across your entire system. One of the most dramatic changes happens in your cravings when you drink smoothies. The blended sugar rush destabilizes your appetite, keeping you addicted to sweetness. When you eat whole fruit, your cravings drop sharply. The fiber slows the sugar release. Your insulin rises gently instead of spiking. Your dopamine remains stable, and your brain stops demanding more sweetness throughout the day. This is why whole fruit feels satisfying, while smoothies feel addictive. Smoothies feed the craving loop. Whole fruit breaks it. I often share the story of a woman in her 70s who thought she started every day with a large green smoothie, added a handful of berries, a banana, and sometimes honey. She believed it was healthy because it was natural, yet she felt exhausted, inflamed, bloated. When I told her to stop drinking smoothies, she looked at me like I was tearing down her religion. But she trusted the science and tried it. 2 weeks later, she said she felt as if someone cleaned her insides. Her energy was stable. Her belly was smaller. Her skin was brighter. Her cravings were gone. She told me she hadn't felt that clear since she was in her 30s. The difference wasn't magic. It was metabolism finally functioning without interference. Let me explain the deeper biochemistry. When your liver is overwhelmed with fructose, it produces excessive uric acid. Uric acid triggers inflammation throughout the body. It also blocks nitric oxide, which impairs blood flow and increases blood pressure. High uric acid makes you feel swollen, sluggish, and inflamed. Smoothies spike uric acid because they deliver fructose too quickly. Whole fruit, on the other hand, produces far less uric acid because the fiber slows absorption. The fructose reaches the liver, allowing it to process it without generating inflammation. This is why whole fruit helps your body lower inflammation over time. It does not overwhelm you, it nourishes you. So when people ask me what the liver cleaning fruit is, they expect a rare berry from a distant rainforest. They expect something expensive or exotic. But the truth is simple. Any fruit eaten whole can support your liver. Apples, pears, berries, oranges, apricots. The key is the fiber. The fiber is the medicine, not the juice, not the puree, not the smoothie. And this brings me to the protocol that has helped thousands of my patients reverse early fatty liver disease. One piece of whole fruit with each meal, not as a snack, not blended, not juiced, eaten whole. This pattern keeps your fructose intake steady and low. It allows your liver to process small doses safely. It stabilizes your appetite. It reduces inflammation. It supports your gut, and it brings your metabolism back into balance. Smoothies drown your liver. Whole fruit lets it breathe. By the time you reach the third week of living without smoothies, you begin noticing changes you never expected. You realize you are waking up with more clarity. You feel lighter in your abdomen. Your joints feel less stiff when you get out of bed. The constant bloat that used to sit under your ribs starts disappearing. Even your face looks different in the mirror. The puffiness fades. Your eyes look brighter. You can actually see your cheekbones again. These changes aren't superficial. They are signs that your liver is finally healing. Your liver is one of the most remarkable organs in the human body. It can regenerate itself. It can recover from years of stress, but it can only do this when you stop overloading it. A liver that is constantly flooded with free fructose cannot heal. A liver that receives fructose slowly, bound to intact fiber, begins repairing itself. The first benefit people feel is energy. Not artificial energy, not caffeine-driven energy, real biological energy. When your liver stops turning excess fructose into fat, your mitochondria, they can generate clean energy again instead of struggling under oxidative stress. This is why so many people say they feel younger. Once they stop drinking smoothies, their mitochondria are functioning again. Then the inflammation begins to drop. You feel it in your joints, in your digestion, in your mood, in your skin. Chronic inflammation is the silent tax your body pays when your liver is overwhelmed. Every system in your body suffers when inflammation is high. Once it decreases, every system begins functioning more smoothly. You breathe easier, you think clearer, you sleep deeper, you even handle stress better. This is what happens when your liver stops fighting for its life every morning. Another powerful change happens in your appetite. People expect sugar cravings to get worse when they stop drinking smoothies, but the opposite happens without a daily fructose spike. Your dopamine pathways stop firing uncontrollably. Your hunger hormones recalibrate. Trilin decreases. Leptin starts working again. You stop chasing sweetness all day. You feel satisfied after meals. You eat less without trying. Your relationship with food becomes calmer. This is why whole fruit works. It feeds you without destabilizing you. One of the most surprising transformations comes in the way your belly feels. Even if you don't lose weight immediately, your abdomen feels different, less swollen, less rigid, less inflamed. This is not fat loss. This is liver relief. It pushes outward. It feels like abdominal bloating. When your liver heals, that pressure disappears. This is why many people notice their waist shrinking even before they see changes on the scale. Let me share the story of a man in his late 50s, whose case I will never forget. He drank smoothies every morning for almost 10 years. He believed he früher, but he felt exhausted all the time. His doctor told him he had elevated liver enzymes. His blood pressure was rising. His belly kept growing even though he was exercising regularly. He had no idea the smoothies were the problem. When he switched to whole fruit, his energy returned in less than 2 weeks. His liver enzymes dropped significantly within a month. His waist shrank, his blood pressure normalized. He said he felt like he could finally breathe again. That feeling wasn't psychological. Another woman in her early 60s drank smoothies because she wanted to lose weight. The more she drank them, the more she craved sugar. The more she craved sugar, the more she snacked. The more she snacked, the more inflamed she felt. She thought something was wrong with her metabolism. But it wasn't her metabolism, it was the way she was consuming fructose once she switched to whole fruit. The cravings vanished. The inflammation dropped, her skin brightened. She told me she felt like her liver finally woke up from a long sleep. That awakening is what I want for you. You do not need powders. You do not need detox teas. You do not need cleanses. You do not need antioxidant supplements. You do not need miracle berries. You need whole fruit, one piece fiber intact, sugar released slowly. This simple practice lowers inflammation, reduces liver fat, stabilizes hunger, calms your dopamine system, and restores your natural energy rhythm. It is one of the most powerful metabolic resets you can do at any age, especially after 60. But there is one rule you must follow with absolute consistency. Do not blend the fruit. Do not juice the fruit. Do not puree the fruit. Do not mix it into a smoothie. The moment you break the fiber, you break the protection. You turn medicine into a toxin. You turn nourishment into overload. You turn slow fructose into a metabolic attack. Your liver depends on you to keep the fiber intact. When you commit to the whole fruit protocol, you are giving your liver something it has been begging for: a chance to breathe, a chance to catch up, a chance to repair, a chance to function. And when your liver heals, everything heals. Your energy, your digestion, your weight, your mood, your metabolism, even your confidence. Imagine yourself 3 weeks from now. Imagine waking up with energy instead of exhaustion. Imagine feeling lightness in your belly instead of pressure. Imagine walking past the mirror, seeing brightness instead of puffiness. Imagine feeling your joints loosen. Imagine thinking clearly without inflammation clouding your mind. Imagine knowing that your liver is no longer struggling. That is the power of whole fruit. That is the danger of smoothies. And that is the truth nobody told you. If you give your liver the right conditions, it will heal. And when your liver heals, your whole life changes. Your liver will breathe again. And when it does, you will finally feel alive again.